Hello, guys. I trust you guys are doing well. Today, I have Zach Cash here in the studio, and he is a student from Langley High School, a running back who had a lot of great accomplishments. And I brought him in the studio today so we could have a little conversation here. Just to give you guys a quick recap, Zach had a very awesome year being a great student. One of my favorite kids to coach, actually, at Langley. I told the kids this year, this is by far the second best class I've coached. They laughed about it because they thought I was about to be like, this is the best class. But I was like, no, this is the second best class. I've been coaching for about 5 years. So I think that's pretty good for them to know that with the kind of size we had this year, not having the kind of numbers we wanted and that kind of stuff, still being able to be that successful, that was very great. So I have Zach in the studio, so we're gonna just have a little conversation, have a little interview with him today, and after that we're gonna give him an award. He's been recognized as the student athlete of the year by our networks, and we are so proud to reward it to Zach because he's well deserving of it. There's a lot of things I like about him. Very, very humble. He's a good listener. At least mommy says he needs to work on that at home. So I know that there's a lot more work that needs to be done. But at least from what I observed, Zach was a very good student athlete. And I'm very excited to have him in the studio today. So let's talk with Zach. So Zach, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also doing good. How's the day going? I know we just had a little bit of snow, so.
I'm very happy about the snow. I went to school 2 days this week, so it was pretty.
2 days.
Yeah, 2
So
days.
you guys were off when?
Well, we were off on Thursday, and then we had a 2-hour delay on Friday.
Interesting. It's so funny because ever since I finished school, I've been so out of the loop. So just like your mom was saying, you guys had a delay, and I don't even know anything about delays. It's so funny when holidays come, and I don't even know it's a holiday. It gets so interesting. I guess once you get past, school, you stay, out of the loop about holidays, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty interesting. That's good. So Zach, let's get straight to business. I know your name is Zach Cash. I believe your full name?
Well, Zach, short for Zachary.
Okay, Zach for Zachary. Okay, and Cash. They kept calling you Cash on the team. At first, I didn't know your last name. I just keep calling you Zach, right? And then they keep saying Cash, 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 And when you say Cash, you balling. So I'm thinking, okay, these guys are calling you Cash because you balling. Like, give me that money, that kind of thing. Kind of the kind of language you guys. Then I'm like, is Zach's last name really Cash? Then they say, yes, it is. And then I actually look on, I forgot. Yeah, I think in the emails, and I saw Zach Cash. I was like, oh, really? It is your last name. Then I look on your Snapchat, and I see Zach Cash. I was like, oh, interesting. So I was like, oh, that's very cool. So I find it cool that you balling, and you have that kind of name. I think it's well deserving. It's a pretty cool name. I think, I don't know if you've seen this picture. You see this picture of you running here? Yeah. When I put on social media, I was like, "Run, Cash, run." So at that time, I didn't know your last name was Cash. So I found it. Yeah, I found it very interesting that your name was Cash. So that's very interesting. Yeah. So let's get to business. Like, was this your first year playing football?
Oh, this was actually my second year. Last year, I played for the Vienna Steelers for the 130-pound weight group.
Wow.
I was actually defensive line.
Wow, from defensive line to running back.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you see it the first year? What actually motivated you to play? I mean, you could have played all these years, from I think it starts from 95, is it? Or ankle biters.
Oh, yeah, ankle
right.
biters.
You could have started from ankle biters to 95, 110, and 125 and all that. So what made you decide to play last year?
Well, a lot of my friends from rugby play football, and they were just asking me to join their team. So I tried it out, and I really liked it.
Okay, all right. So, did you have any accomplishments that very first year? Like, I mean, I know you played on a D line. Like, how did you pick up? Like, did you find tackling easy? Whatever your coaches taught you, the concepts. Like, did you find it easy?
Yeah, I found it relatively
Okay.
easy since I got past the line pretty fast because I
Okay.
was quick off the ball.
Okay. Yeah. That reminds me when I played, I was very little compared to the other guys that that we had at the varsity level. So they always put me on nose guard because I could always get through the line very fast. I wasn't big to go against these huge guys, but I was always very quick to get through. So that reminds me, when you say you get past the line very easily, that's very good. With that said, I asked this question because some kids, they try for the first year and then they like, oh no, football is not for me. I don't want to do it. So that's kind of why I asked you because I feel like you must have had some accomplishments, at that level for you to want to play, high school football. Did anybody talk you into playing high school football? Or you just kind of in a way, motivated yourself to play.
Yeah, I kind of motivated myself to play, and a lot
Okay.
of my other friends were gonna do freshman football, so I had
Okay.
to do it.
Okay. So you're like, okay, why not? Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So let's fast forward to earlier this season. You are a lot of the preseason workouts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to ask you, like, how did you see the preseason workouts, the workouts leading to the regular season? Like, how did you see it? How important was it to you?
The preseason workouts were really important because they kind of prepared us for what we were gonna do. Like the
Okay.
lifting, like leg presses and stuff would help you drive
Okay.
when you're like getting tackled or
Mhm.
tackling someone.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good. I bring this up because some kids feel like, they could just show up in August, September, and just play. So I bring this up, So if somebody's listening to us right now or watch this video right now, later, they could actually understand the importance of, how off-season workouts prepare you for the regular season. Okay, so it's important that you mentioned that it helps you out. One of the things, when I was observing all of you guys, I realized that you were running very fast. You were very fast running. So I was like, there's something in this kid, coach. And coach said, actually, I think coach has seen you play before, right? Oh no,
No,
no.
coach.
Okay, so I guess so I guess what happened was I liked you based on what I was seeing. So I mentioned it to coach, and coach was like, I don't know, we'll see, something like that. So I think that's what must have happened, right? Because I saw you running fast, and the way you ran, you run. It's like you. I guess the way you were running, he couldn't tell you was running with form. Because I guess you have a style of running, so he couldn't really tell at that moment. But I was like, this kid got a little something in him. I think he's gonna be somewhere in the backfield, So I was actually not too surprised that you played running back. And a lot of the accomplishments that you made this year, I think it wasn't too surprising because you are somebody who works hard. From what I observed, so I'm glad that you had fun. Now let me talk to you about, is running back the position you really wanted to play this year, or did you really, what made you play running back from being on the line?
Yeah, going into this year, running back was my goal.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
Rugby, I really like running the ball,
Okay.
and I usually just run to the outside or just try and juke guys out in rugby, which is kind of the same thing that I'd have to do in football for running back.
Okay. All right, that's good. So with being a running back this year, did coaches teach you anything that may help you to be successful? Coming into the season, did you learn anything?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot, like the correct steps to take for handoffs, how
Okay.
to take a handoff,
Hmm.
how to read my blocks.
Okay.
It was all really helpful.
Okay. All right, that's good. Let's talk about this. So we started off the year with, we didn't have, well, let's not say it improved. This year we just didn't have the numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you feel when you saw the numbers that we had on the team? Like how did you feel?
I felt that we just had to work with what we had, and people
Okay.
had to, fight through the game and just
Hmm.
play the extra down, so we could get back on offense and score.
Okay. All right. How was the experience the first few games when you guys were gassing out, cramping up on the field and everything? Like, can you explain that that experience a little bit?
It was a little frustrating at first, starting the season 0-4,
Hmm.
but we came back and eventually won the rest of the games.
Okay. All right. So I want to ask you this question. So, what could you have done better, or the team have done better to, limit the amount of, um, cramping up and that kind of stuff, that we experienced the first few games.
We could have prepared ahead of time before the games,
Okay.
like hydrated before the games,
Okay.
prepared for the heat.
Hmm. All right. Yeah. So I realized a lot of the teammates didn't, your teammates didn't like to run, so we kept talking about, other coaches always complain about that. Hey, you guys got to run, but eventually cut up, did you feel like, the off season, could have gone, better, as in, actually pushed you harder, or you felt like you guys were pushed the right about the right amount?
At the beginning of the season, we could have been pushed a little harder, but after we started cramping a few games, we started
Okay.
doing sprints before and after
Mhm.
practice, which helped a lot because we didn't cramp up the rest of the season after we started doing that.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Let's fast forward to the season now. You started on coming into the season. Obviously, I was with you. Almost there. Well, for the whole season, for the most part. You know, in the beginning phases, you realized how you played. Was a bit different. Um, what was the sudden change that brought a different Zach? I believe there was a different Zach towards the end. Not to say you changed much, but I believe you started getting some concepts, and you started really being like, oh yeah, I think I can do this, and I think a lot of stuff started ringing a bell. So, what exactly what was the difference? What exactly happened?
Well, after our bye week, the other running back hurt his leg, so I ended up getting more reps
Mhm.
at running back, and our line got a lot better, so I had more trust in them
Okay.
to make the gaps for me. And then once I got through the gaps, it was really easy from there.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's good. As far as your playing, okay, you broke a lot of long runs. You broke a lot of long runs. What you know what motivated you to be able to break all you broke a lot of tackles this year. Broke a lot of tackles, made a lot of long runs. I saw a gentleman that didn't want to go down, who was passionate. It's like I saw a lot of things about you. Like, so what kind of stuff was going through your head whenever you're making all these big plays?
I just wanted to get the ball as close to other team's end zone as possible to help our
Okay.
team get the victory.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. As far as this year, what were some of the accomplishments that you had? From this year that you can remember. What were some of the accomplishments?
The game against McLean.
Okay.
That was one of our biggest games of the year since they were our team rival.
Right.
And the kick return touchdowns. Those were my favorite.
Okay. All right. So, have you had any other accomplishments as far as recognitions on the team, anything like that?
For football, no, not really. Like I had like intercept, like pick sixes,
Hmm.
and a lot of rushing yards.
Okay. Alrighty. And then you had that, and then also the team gave you an award,
Then,
right?
yeah. Then the
Right.
MVP.
Right. You could bring it up so we can get that on the camera. All right. Let me get this out of there so we could actually see the trophy. Alrighty. So, what does it say on it?
It says most valuable player Zach Cash, 2018, Langley High School freshman football.
Okay. Most valuable player. Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah. You could rest it. Let's talk about that. So, what does the word most valuable player mean to you?
It means the hardest worker, the player who sets the tone for
Okay.
the team, sets the example,
Okay.
who makes the big plays.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Did you feel like you really earned that this year?
Yeah, I feel like I worked pretty hard to get where I was in the season.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I believe you did too. And that's not far off. I believe you are an outstanding student athlete. Just like I said in the beginning, it's not the fact that you had the football the football accomplishments, but just your practices. I put this picture in the slides on purpose. Because you can see how if we flip here, you can see how you looking at my face. You see how you listening. What that tells a coach about an athlete is the athlete is a good listener. You could be talking to a kid and they could have their head pointed somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I put that picture in the slides to just help the viewers and anybody that's watching or listening, get an understanding of what kind of athlete you are. You're a very good listener. When somebody's talking to you, you make sure the way you listen. I really like that, and I feel like if you continue to grow from that and even get much better, and it's going to make you very successful moving forward. Whether it's in your academics, whatever it is, not just athletics. That's one thing I always teach. I didn't get a lot of chance to teach you guys this year, but being a head coach, that's one of the things I teach my kids is football is I tell them is the game of life. In a way, in what sense? It's a game that prepares you for life. So I know I didn't get to teach you guys a lot of life lessons because we didn't have the kind of the things to help us do that. Not having a locker room and that kind of stuff, it really hurts us a lot. But no, with what I'm saying, it's a game that prepares you for life. You have a good understanding about that, right?
Yeah.
Like in a way, do you feel like you learned anything from this season that you feel like it's gonna be very applicable to your life? That you're gonna use it to apply to your life and grow from that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had to listen to all of the coaches' different opinions.
Okay.
And listening to people's different opinions can help you make decisions for what you're gonna do
Okay.
in like school or other things.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's very good. From this season, which game was your favorite? I know you said McLean game was a key game, right? But I want to know which game was whether it was a bad game or not a good game. Which game was your favorite game?
My favorite game was the Washington League game.
Washington League game. Okay. Why was that?
It's what really started our 4-0 run. It's what got everyone, pumped up, got everyone confident to play the rest of the season hard.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. And you scored touchdowns on that game, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember how many? Not really.
I scored 3 in that game.
3 in that game. Oh, that's very good. Do you remember how many touchdowns you scored by any chance the whole season?
The whole season, I'm pretty sure I scored 19.
About 19.
And,
Okay.
The last 4 games, I scored 14.
The last 4 games, 14 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So that's very interesting. That's crazy. 14 touchdowns in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, guys. You guys can tell we're talking to a super athlete here, not just an athlete. That's very good. You really had a lot of accomplishments. I usually don't do this. This kind of award with student athletes because we already do it for the football team. But I this year's team, there was something exceptional about you guys. So I was like, no, let me do something to just help you guys understand that you guys were really special. So that's why I do it. I've never ever done this for any of my student athletes ever. I do awards with them, but that's from the school end. I never do it outside of that. But I wanted to bring you outside so that you understand, what key role you really played this year and what impact you left on these young men, and your teammates. And a lot of them are going to remember this for the most part of their lives, So it's very it's a very good accomplishment, and I just wanted us to come back to this and celebrate it by talking about it and just using it as a way to teach young athletes. From this season, one of the things I want to talk about is like as far as your preparations for the games. How did you prepare yourself? Not just what the coaches had like regular practices, but like you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, health wise, knowing the right food to eat, that kind of stuff. Like, just tell us a little bit about that. What was your formula? How did you prepare yourself throughout the week?
Well, I tried to bring at least somewhat healthy snacks to lunch, like Cliff Bar or something like that. And
And is this throughout the week or on a specific day, like the day before the game,
um,
on the same day, or
yeah, like 2 days before the
okay,
game
a
or
few
something.
days,
Yeah,
okay,
or
all
like a
right,
few days before the game, just to
okay,
like cut out like soda and like
okay.
bad foods before the game.
Before you move on, let me ask you this question. Sorry that I'm interrupting you. Why did you choose to cut out the soda?
'Cause soda really doesn't have any like nutritional value for you at all, and it
Right,
doesn't really keep you very hydrated.
right. How does it affect you during the games?
I'm just more exhausted during the games, and
Right,
I have less energy.
right,
Hmm.
right. And then it also contributes to the cramping too.
Yeah.
Because I remember, when I played football, I used to cramp a lot,
Hmm.
and it wasn't the fact that I drank soda, but that was one of the things I used to motivate myself that hey, I can't be drinking that because I used to cramp a lot. So yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. You can move on.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then at lunch, like the day of, I just got water and Gatorade from the lunch line.
Hmm.
And before the game, I just go out with the first group, even if I'm not on special teams or anything. I just dress up and go practice with them, just to get ready for the game. And it's kind of weird. I tie my cleats and I just untie them and retie them like 2 times before the game, just to
Mm.
like repair.
Why is that?
It's
You
just
just don't know.
I just do
You
it.
just do it.
Yeah, I just do it.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you do to prepare?
Yeah, I before the game I try and go through my steps for running back,
Okay.
or I just throw the ball with my quarterback in case you do like a pass play to me,
Okay.
just so my hands are ready.
Okay. All right. That's good. And that's about it.
Mm.
Yeah. One thing I realized about you this year is like like I said, I was very impressed with you. You ever since like we started teaching you the steps, you were picking it up. I was like, okay, this is my number one guy. Because you ran through the steps exactly how a running back should run through it. And I believe it's not just the fact that you just have the skills, but you're a very good listener because
Mm-hmm.
you everything I saw you do was like fundamental. It's like I literally will see you actually slide and take whatever step you got to take. So I was
Mm-hmm.
very impressed about that. And I always tell you, hey, you got to motivate your other guys so they pick up because you can't just freelance in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
remember, if we're gonna watch some of your highlights and we're gonna react to it, and you realize when you watch your highlights, all your stuff are like one cut, go, cut, go, cut, go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very impressive, very very impressive. So you know in the backfield, not dangling around, not you take your right steps, boom, cut. If you get hit, you get hit. You don't get hit,
Mm-hmm.
that's how a running back should be. So I think you really did some good stuff that a lot of younger athletes can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Before I forget, I want to ask you, if you had an advice to give to any student athlete, okay, or anybody that is interested in being a student and being an athlete, what advice would you give them in order for them to be successful? What does it take to be successful as a student athlete?
Um, doing like listening to your coaches and practicing what you're gonna do in the game during practice and like doing your steps so
Okay.
you can execute in the game.
Okay. And you remember on the awards days, you remember what I told you guys? You remember one coach was like, coaches, you guys have anything to say? You remember what I told you guys? Not really? Yeah, okay. So this is what I said. I said a student athlete, okay? So you hear the word, right?
Mhm.
How many words do you hear when I say student athletes?
Two.
Okay, so what word do you hear first?
Student.
Okay, and what word do you hear next?
Athlete.
Okay, so with that in mind, what can you tell your fellow student athletes?
School comes first. You have to make sure that you get good grades and that you get your homework done so you have time to play sports and you have to execute in sports so
Okay,
you can, play well and maybe get to a higher level.
okay, yeah,
Mm.
it's very important. You mentioned this because I started off coaching at Mount Vernon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
the
know.
team we
Hmm.
played early in the season. And back in from the Alexandra side, a lot of kids get very comfortable with the community because
Hmm.
that's the community they've grown up in and that kind of stuff. They get very comfortable with it. So a lot of, not every kid, but majority, let's say a good amount of kids, they get to a certain level, and you know what they do? they just, after school, they just don't continue. They just stop and work on McDonald's, right?
Mhm.
And I bring this up because, if you don't know you know, what it takes to be a good student athlete, you might
Mhm.
play sports and you think, oh, this is it. Let me just
Mhm.
work McDonald's
Yeah.
and make a few bucks, stay home with my parents. But you got to remember, it's going to be with your parents, unless if your parents really want to, keep you like that, but some parents really want you to grow. So at some point, they're going to want you to grow and take bigger
Mhm.
steps, and a lot of these kids are like that, after
Mhm.
school, they just kind of just get too comfortable. They do, a lot of them will do the Nova. Nothing is wrong with Nova, but a lot of them just stay home, work
Mhm.
something. Some kids really have the vision, they'll just, go to school and Nova, save up, that kind of stuff. But some of the kids just stay around the community and
Mhm.
just, call it I, my high school diploma is good enough,
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's important you guys understand, high school diploma is very important, but
Mhm.
getting higher education is where your parents and the people that really want you to succeed want you guys to get to, So
Mhm.
it's important, you're a student first, an athlete next, so
Mhm.
that way always take care of the books because hey, when you get to the college level, you might not understand this at the high school level, but at the college level, guess what? You get a scholarship. Okay,
Mhm.
that's good. That's exciting. But guess what? You have to maintain the scholarship. And guess what you maintain your scholarship with?
Grades.
Exactly. All right. If you're not excelling, it gets dropped.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's very important you guys understand this, because being a good student athlete, being more of a great student first, and being an okay athlete
Mhm.
can land you guys in good places, So
Mhm.
I just want kids to always understand being a great athlete and being an okay student is not acceptable. You
Mhm.
got to be a great student first. You can be a good. It can be great. You can be a great student and be a great athlete. Perfect. All
Mhm.
right. But you can be a great student and be an okay athlete and still
Mhm.
go. Make some pretty good. Go far. Okay. So always think. Moving forward. Hey, I got to take care of my grades. Got to take care of my grades. Okay. And motivate your teammates to also do that. Okay. All right. So with that said, let's actually get into your highlights. I kind of want to kind of get your reaction, so I'm gonna try and it's gonna be live, so I'm not gonna be able to control it because it's gonna be live.
Okay.
So all I want you to do is when it gets there, just kind of let us know what is going through your head. I'll try and ask you some questions. Let me know what was going through your head, that kind of stuff. Okay, so we'll do this